Man, those are some hard acts to follow. Give it up again for everybody who's went up. So yeah, I'm biracial. I'm half black, half Serbian. Cannot play basketball, but I have 2 on my ass. I like to call this one LeBron James and this one Nikola Jokic. MVPs. Now seriously, how many of you who don't know me already, when I came up here thought, that woman's black? Yeah, I didn't think so because I didn't see anybody clutching their purses. In truth, I like sort of present to the world as sort of this fat white woman, maybe with some collagen in her lips and a 1990s perm and, you know, fabulous style. But the only thing really on me that is purely, visibly, unequivocally black is this ass. That other people have big asses. On white women, it usually shows up as sort of like wide and flat, or it's droopy and kind of teardrop shaped. Like Kim Kardashian has that ass. It is not this ass. My ass, it's round. See, it's round. It's actually pretty firm. There's a lot of muscle under here. Rides high and proud on my back. My pants are not short because I have long legs. I have a high ass. So, it's very true that all black women do not have giant asses like this. My sister does not have a giant ass, bitch. But my mama, she gave me her ass. It is the only thing in this genetic pool of whiteness where her genes have prevailed. I was in Washington, D.C., and this cab driver stopped. And he was like, from Africa. And he said, I knew you were black. You bear the haunches of Africa. I have never been more proud. A brother from the motherland recognized me. Now, as proud as I am of this genetic resilience of this ass, right? Because it went through a lot to stay here. It also causes me a lot of trouble, especially when I travel. I kid you not, swear to God. Our last trip, I go through that little magnetic thing, and the TSA agent says, excuse me, your right buttock has alerted. Now, that's a little bronze side. He was going, hey! Nikola Jokic is like, no. I am a Serbian. I am a hostage here that is not my ass. We got enough trouble. How does an ass alert, right? You know? So she came and she copped a feel. She squeezed and stuff. I think that's what she wanted. And it wasn't bad. I needed a cigarette afterwards. So I get through that humiliation, and then I brace myself with 3 vodka martinis to get on the plane. If you're little, you know how hard it is to get through a plane mile, right? Imagine being me, right? And I don't care if it's a 747, a 787, a military plane that transport tanks, whatever plane it is, I got a problem. It's like the kids with the backpacks, right? You know, they're on the bus or the train and they're walloping you, right? That's what my ass does. But it's low, right? So it's hitting you square on in the face, right? I try to spray perfume on my ass before I get on the plane, right? Because I'm like, oh, excuse me, sorry. At least it smells sweet, right? But after a while, it just smells like ass. So usually when we travel, I make my partner sit in the aisle across from me, because then if I have to get up out the seat, I'm just walloping him in the face with my ass. And that's all right. It's familiar territory. I had to swear I wasn't going to do that joke, but I did anyway. So, remember, I'm biracial. And so my white father, being, white and small-assed, he noticed as I was growing up that something was happening. And he wanted to protect me, right? He was a loving father, wonderful father. And so I would go spend every summer with him on the north side. My parents weren't together. My mom, I grew up in Roseland, save for the hood. But I would go to the north side to live with my dad on the summer. And it was usually fabulous because my father was adventurous, fun, spontaneous. Rules, what are rules? He taught me to drive when I was 10 years old on a highway, going 70 miles per hour. My mother is still mad at him about that, and he's dead. Every time I pick my mother up now, she goes, yeah, your father taught you how to drive when you were 10 years old. I should have had that motherfucker deported. That was my mother's answer for every one of my father's misdeeds. She's going to have his ass deported, right? But it's all right. My father would just give her lots of money. All would be fine. Now, this summer, and I was like 16, it just started to get shapely and filled out. This was a different kind of summer. My father decided to starve this ass off of me. And let me be clear, he had been a political prisoner. He had led hunger strikes. He knew how to starve people. I'm sitting there, whole summer, Tab. They hadn't even invented Diet Coke yet. And cabbage soup. Occasionally, he'd throw me a piece of bread. And if I looked like I was going to die, I didn't have enough protein, he would take like a pound of hamburger meat and plop it in the soup. No saute or brown, just boiled hamburger meat, right? Let me tell you, when you're hungry, you eat that shit. It was delicious. I had visions of rib tips and hot links floating in my head, right? Like, it's a rib tip, really. By the end of the summer, and I actually want to say this, I was complicit in this, right? My father had not chained me to any wall. I wasn't locked in the apartment. I knew how to drive, right? I could have fled, right? And I was loaded with money because my father's way to deal with guilt was always, oh, Shishpada, do you need money? Yes. The answer to that is always yes, right? So I was loaded with money. But at the end of the summer, we kind of knew the experiment had failed. What we didn't know was that we had created a weird cycle here. You know how when you take antibiotics, and if you don't finish the cycle, you create a superbug? We created a super ass. From that summer on, it just grew and grew to this magnificent ass. But we also knew we had to face my mama. So we're driving home from the north side. I would say the tone of the car was somber because we knew this was not going to go well. So the door opens. I've got hollowed eyes and sunken cheeks. My hair's falling out. Kids in the neighborhood thought I had leukemia. They're like, oh man, look at Tina. My mother comes running down the stairs. She grabs, the way mothers protectively grab you, and then they kind of turn you away, like that's going to protect you, right? And I'm sure over my head she was like whispering, motherfucker, you gone, out. I'm deporting you, right? But she didn't want to upset me because she knew I was frail, right? And she was hugging me and rocking me. Oh, my poor baby. I noticed her smile. Because I might have been as thin as a reed this way, but when I turned to the side, Africa still had my back.